Hi, welcome to our channel True Up. TSMC controls 63% of the worldwide semiconductor market as the world's largest semiconductor foundry. Its technology and strength are both impressive. However, the United States continues to update the chip rules in 2022. Because of technological constraints, TSMC is compelled to shut off supplies to firms on the restricted list, such as Huawei, and is unable to ship freely. Since then, the worldwide chip layout has begun to shift. According to the current circumstances, TSMC appears to be duped. Why is this the case? Okay, I believe there are 4 proofs to be explained. Initially, TSMC was encouraged to develop a facility in the United States, but the offered subsidy was a rubber check. To reclaim leadership of the semiconductor field, the United States has begun to aggressively expand the domestic semiconductor industry. Nevertheless, the United States today is already different from the United States 20 years ago. Not only is the cost of manufacturing wafers exorbitant, but skilled local expertise is few. Therefore, the US sees TSMC as the savior to salvage its IC future. However, TSMC founder Morris Chang was critical of the U.S. semiconductor sector. He added that the U.S. semiconductor manufacturing business is lacking in skills and that the cost remains high. After 25 years of hard effort at TSMC's Oregon manufacturing site, the cost of chip manufacture in the U.S. is still 50% higher than in Taiwan. Furthermore, the present U.S. initiative to invest in domestic chip manufacture will be costly and ineffective. To entice TSMC to establish a factory in the United States pledged to provide subsidies. However, when TSMC began construction of an advanced wafer fab in Phoenix, Arizona, the promised subsidies from the United States were delayed for a long period. Furthermore, because of a shortage of necessary local personnel, the fab was postponed midway through construction, with a delayed duration of up to 3 to 6 months. The home climate that is not suitable to the growth of the semiconductor sector, as well as the frequently delayed subsidies, have both contributed to TSMC's growing dissatisfaction with the U.S. Furthermore, the next sequence of operations in the United States disappointed TSMC even more. What action did the United States take? Please continue to watch. Second, the United States convened a chip hearing, but TSMC was the only company that was not invited. Maria Cantwell, head of the U.S. Senate Commerce Committee, convened a chip hearing and invited several professionals in the semiconductor business to explore how to create the next generation of chip technology in order to boost local chip manufacturing capacity and competitiveness. This chip hearing attracted officials from Samsung, Intel, and Micron, as well as the CEO of truck manufacturer PACCAR, and U.S. executives even met with executives from chipmakers such as Samsung and Micron. However, TSMC was not on the list of invited companies. In addition to addressing how to create next-generation chip technology, the hearing also looked into faults in the chip supply chain and the link between the chip industry and the United States' competitiveness. It is clear that they began to marginalize TSMC. Third, the U.S. seeks to lure employees from TSMC in order to meet the local semiconductor industry's skills shortfall. The local semiconductor sector is facing more than 5,000 employment openings due to the difficulties in hiring skilled and experienced individuals in the United States, and the American think tank advised that these vacancies can be imported from outside, ideally experienced talents from TSMC. TSMC was compelled to hand over some of its technological cores when it traveled to the United States to establish a factory. Clearly, the U.S. asked TSMC to work for free for the U.S. and take advantage of this chance to get essential technology. When the first approach failed, the U.S. began to look for new ways to steal individuals. Furthermore, in order to promote the enthusiasm of local semiconductor makers to build facilities, the United States enacted a $52 billion subsidy measure to relieve pressure on local fab builders. However, Intel, a local American corporation, has already built 2 fabs with a $20 billion subsidy, whereas TSMC has yet to get a penny. Last but not least, TSMC's main customer used to be Huawei, which provided more than $30 billion to TSMC's income each year. However, since the US amended the semiconductor laws, TSMC has lost Huawei, its largest customer, and many other Chinese firms are no longer able to collaborate with it. The fact that Huawei's vacant orders have been filled by American firms such as Apple is the key reason why TSMC can retain constant income despite losing Huawei's orders. Apple has surpassed Huawei as TSMC's top client. Furthermore, TSMC's top market remains the United States, and its sales surpassed 1 trillion yuan for the first time, hitting 1.01 trillion yuan, an annual rise of around 24%, accounting for 64%. Taiwan placed second, with sales of 203.963 billion yuan, a 58% rise year-on-year, accounting for around 12.8%. However, the figures plainly show that a substantial portion of TSMC's present income is dependent on these US firms, and the initiative is not in its own hands. If these US corporations stop collaboration one day, TSMC's income would suffer. All of the aforesaid indications point to the United States ripping off TSMC. This is why Morris Chang, the founder of TSMC, was fiercely criticized in a lecture at the Brookings Institution, saying, "Increasing domestic chip manufacture in the United States is a wasteful and pointless effort." When he couldn't receive the subsidies at first, the gentleman must have recognized. The primary motivation for TSMC's decision to establish an advanced small plant with a monthly production of 20,000 wafers was to save money. But now that the cost cannot be decreased and it must use its own money to create plants for others, TSMC is understandably dissatisfied. Overall, as the center of semiconductor production increasingly shifted to Asia after 2000, the local chip manufacturing sector in the United States was forced to cut labor costs in order to compete with the semiconductor manufacturing industry in Asia with lower labor costs. Because of declining income returns, the number of students willing to pursue related disciplines has decreased even more, prompting the chip manufacturing sector to relocate to regions with cheaper labor costs, such as Asia. After more than 10 years of this cycle, the present skill pool in the United States semiconductor manufacturing business is quite tiny. It is difficult to resurrect the local semiconductor manufacturing business with a one-time investment. Instead, it takes 5 to 10 years of continual development. This is why, according to Morris Chang, if the United States wishes to revitalize domestic manufacturing, it must pay a heavy price. If you have any ideas about TSMC being caught by the United States, please share them in the comments section. Thanks for watching our video. We would appreciate it if you subscribed our channel and gave us a thumb. See you.